Why are you getting so anxious about this? Because they're building a dam across the Cohulawasi River, Bobby. That's why. They're flooding the river. They're flooding the river. All right. We hear you. It's just about the last untouched, unfucked up river in the South. Well, that's progress. It ain't progress, it's shit. Well, those dams provide folks with a lot of power. My father-in-law has a houseboat on I don't give a shit on Lake Boa. Provide a lot of folks with recreation. That's some of the very first opening dialogue of this movie, which is a 4-star movie, Deliverance. It's written by a guy, I guess it was originally a book, and I think the guy wrote the screenplay, I think. And it was written by a guy, apparently, who was kind of part each one of these characters, you know? Part, you know, sucking off the system's tit. Part, maybe the system isn't good for us, you know, after all. So he was able to, you know, fill this movie with some characters that voice different sides, or I guess the two main sides of something in this, of the whole idea of, you know, the system versus just the wild or whatever. I didn't see Deliverance until, I don't know, I was working at Movie Gallery and we had the DVD. And the cover, you know, of the first DVD that came out really, I don't know, didn't really particularly, you know, blow my socks off. But some point during my, probably maybe 06 maybe, I rented from Movie Gallery where I was working at the time, Deliverance on DVD, and I was like, oh man, how come I haven't seen this movie yet? This is amazing, obviously being a movie that takes place out in my element, as it were, the river, and the whole movie takes place out in the wilderness, in the river. And the whole movie is beautiful. I mean, you know, early 70s, 35 millimeter, you know, absolutely beautiful movie, visually. And actually the you know, the, whatever you call it, banjo stuff, which became pretty famous in the movie, is obviously ridiculously famous. That bluegrass, which is pretty great stuff. Deliverance is a, I don't know if I already said it or not, it's a obvious 4-star movie. Now, I like the first half a lot more than I like the second half. For me, the best part of the movie is everything up until they meet the rednecks. After that, I'm like, you know, having seen it, you know what's going to happen. So I can understand, like, maybe the whole, you know, the second half being more interesting to someone seeing it the first time, because, you know, it's suspenseful, like what's going to happen. But for rewatchability, I'm just trying to. I've been sitting for probably, I don't know how long, 90 minutes or more. The river's so high that there isn't really any islands or anything for me to get out and stretch my legs, so I can't stretch my legs. So, where was I? Oh yeah. So I like the first half the best before they encounter the rednecks, but it is very, you know, every time you see it, it's still just as impactful, like very wonderfully done, you know, and scary. I remember when I first saw the movie, and they arrive at that gas station, there's this one big like master shot that just holds, you know, the good old days when the editors didn't feel like they had to, you know, it was a sin to keep, you know, nowadays you can't hold on they don't hold on a shot for more than 10 seconds, you know. In those days, good old days, there's this shot, which I don't know how long it lasts. It lasts a while, enough to become aware of the fact that it's continuing to go on, but it lasts so long that there's this great moment where it's like, it's either sunny and it gets overcast, or it's overcast and it gets sunny, but the sun either comes out or goes away during the course of that shot. And that's a moment that sticks out for me. There's some really great shots in the movie. Another one that sticks out is when they come across that kid on the river, the kid's on the bridge. And there's that great shot of, you know, like a canoe POV where the camera's pointing up and they go under the bridge and from one side to the other and hold on that kid. Some really amazing photography in this movie, the likes of which you really don't see anymore, and especially since pretty much I don't know if really anyone is shooting film anymore. Just like Burt Reynolds complains about, you know, flooding the river and killing the river, the Cohulawasi River, I'm, you know, currently now complaining about the end of celluloid, really, you know. So there's always something to complain about. But this movie's fantastic, and I think I've already said 4 stars, possibly 2 or 3 times. All 4 cast members in this movie are amazing. Now, I knew Ronnie Cox from obviously RoboCop and Total Recall. I mean, to me, you know, the movies I first saw him in, he played like the same character. You know, he played the meanest asshole so amazingly well that to see him in a part like this is, you know, really weird. But all 4 cast members obviously are amazing. Burt Reynolds, John Voight, Ned Beatty, and Ronnie Cox. And of course, Ronnie Cox could do that. I don't know, he had some kind of a double jointed elbow, or not an elbow, but a shoulder or whatever. Had some kind of trick shoulder where he could pull off that. And I love it when people take advantage of their bodily whatevers for a movie. To pull off that thing that looks so gross, where they find his body later on in the river, and it's just like, oh man. You're looking at that and you're like, how does he do that? You know? But that's how. He had some kind of a joint something or other in his shoulder that enabled him to pull off that magical trick. Obviously the movie's a survival movie, and one of those that goes under that category of survival movies. Just what did happen on the Cohulawasi River. Cohulawasi River. I don't know, but it involved whee! Obviously that's kind of a disturbing scene, even if you know what's coming, if I can use that word. Even if you know what's coming, it's still disturbing. So I'm trying to think if I've covered it for Deliverance. It's amazing music, obviously, and the famous dueling banjos scene, which is famous and quite the way to start the movie. And if I can just say it once more, like I say, my favorite part is just the first half or third before, it's probably more like the first third or something, before they come across the rednecks, before they have that incident. And I unfortunately I have to say that the movie does feature some of the worst day for night photography that I've ever seen. And as much as I hate studios tinkering with movies for DVD and Blu-ray releases, every time I see that stuff where John Voight's supposed to be, you know, on the mountain at night, I just go, ew. I'm like, isn't there a way to fix this? But I guess at the same time you give him credit for just leaving it how audiences saw it when it first came out. Obviously, if you're a river enthusiast like I am, you're going to stretch your legs. Oh, you're gonna enjoy I can't stress enough, you're gonna enjoy the beautiful scenery. And you know, there's no green screen in this movie. You know, they pretty much just, from what I know, they pretty much just filmed it as they were. I mean, the whole crew was basically just going down river and filming as they were. You know, maybe I'm incorrect. I don't know. Maybe that's what I want to think. Maybe that's what I want to think what happened when they were filming it. But you know, it was like the whole crew was just going down in boats or whatever and just filming it. You know, I'm going in. The river's really high. And I'm going in these areas that I love to traverse so much. I just want to be sure to show you guys these beautiful areas, which is normally, when the river's not high, these are like islands. But when it's high, just trying to see which way I can go. When it's high, it's this cool lake forest, river water forest. If I can just stop reviewing for a moment and just show you guys just this beautiful scenery. And like I say, the overcast today is kind of welcome. It's a nice cool, it's actually not cool, but got a bunch of sun on the 21st. It was a beautiful day. It's just nothing but sun. And I rode the bike on the trail, 24 miles there and back to the end of it. Nothing but sun the whole way. I stopped. Lake Nate is kind of at the beginning of the trail trek, so I stopped there, jumped in, kept on the trail, completely soaked on a beautiful day. That's my, yikes. That's my idea of a perfect day. So Deliverance looks beautiful on Blu-ray. I would highly recommend it if you haven't seen it, obviously. One of the first, possibly, I don't know every single movie ever made. Oh, good. I kind of got grounded up on a branch, a big branch. Obviously, perhaps one of the first, if not the first, like in a series of outdoor rape movies. And maybe one of the only ones to feature male-on-male rape, because usually if it's like Day of the Woman, aka I Spit on Your Grave, it's man-on-woman rape, which isn't any more proper by any means. It's just different, I guess, man-on-woman. So thank you. I guess I pretty much covered it for Deliverance. There's some sun. Thank you very much for watching my Deliverance movie review, and as I said, if the Blu-ray is absolutely beautiful, obviously the first third of the movie, well, I guess all of it is, but like I say, I just enjoy the first third the most. To me, you know, it would have been fine if the whole movie would have been about them just, you know, going on the river and sharing, just talking about their opinions about things. Just for the record, I'm with basically what's his name? Burt Reynolds. I'm pretty much on Burt Reynolds' side, character side in the movie. I am pretty much anti-system. Not that I can't understand Jon Voight's side. It's an interesting tale about Jon Voight, the family man, the system man, who's got, you know, the wife and the kid, good job, and Burt Reynolds, who's kind of me. I don't think they really ever say, but I don't think he's married necessarily or attached to anyone. Certainly probably doesn't have a kid that's in his life anyway. Kind of just a loner guy in the movie. And those are the two, you know, main characters, and then Ned Beatty and Ronnie Cox are kind of just there. But it is a great story about putting things in perspective, which all you got to do is spend a couple days on the Cohulawasi River and struggle for your life. When you come back to civilization and it's everything looks completely different. And I think that's one of the great things about the movie. These people, these three that survived it, are absolutely changed by those brief couple of days they spent out in the wilderness, unprotected by the system that Jon Voight's character likes so much. And what's interesting is Burt Reynolds' character was all prepared for it, and even Jon Voight was like, you can't wait for it to happen, can you? For everything to just come crashing down, and the survival of the fittest, who has the power to survive. And what's ironic is, with the exception of like Ronnie Cox, spoiler alert, dying, out of the three that survive, Burt Reynolds is the only one to gets his leg all screwed up, and he's the one who's crying throughout the last half of the movie. It's like, now you gotta play the game. Fantastic movie that says a lot in a simple way about just the human condition and humanity and in general in the system. Obviously highly recommended Deliverance. Thank you very much for watching and spending some time with me on the beautiful St. Croix River. Just what did happen on the St. Croix River. If all goes well, not a rape. Wish me luck, folks. Thanks for watching.